Have you ever looked at your team and just felt like they're spinning their wheels? I mean, they're full of talent, right? But somehow they're just stuck in first gear. Well, today we're going to tackle the hidden reason why that happens and show you how to turn all that confusion into a real high-performance engine.
It's the one question that probably keeps you up at night as a leader. You know you've hired smart, motivated people. So why are goals being missed? Why does every single project feel like a grind? And here it is. This is the core idea. And honestly, it's a total game changer. The problem isn't your people. It's not that they're lazy. It's not a lack of talent. The real performance killer, the thing that's holding you back, is just plain old confusion. Now, this isn't just some vague, fuzzy feeling. This confusion shows up in really specific, damaging ways. You've got team members asking, wait, who actually owns this task? That's confusion about roles. Or they're thinking, I have 10 things to do. What's the one thing I should be working on right now? That's confusion about priorities. And maybe the biggest one of all, how do I even know if I'm doing a good job? That's confusion about success. So what's the natural instinct? Hire another superstar, right? But throwing more talent at the problem is never going to fix it. The real solution, the antidote to all this performance-killing confusion, is a well-designed, intentional team structure. Okay, so when I say good structure, what does that actually mean? Let's be super clear here. We are not talking about soul-crushing red tape or bureaucracy. In fact, we're talking about the exact opposite. Just think of it like this. A good structure creates clarity, which leads to speed and accountability. It enables high performance. Bureaucracy, that just creates bottlenecks, rigidity, and a culture of blame. It actively disables performance. So let's redefine this for ourselves. A clear structure isn't about control. It's the very foundation you build to give your team absolute clarity on their roles, real accountability for their work, and the freedom they need to perform at their best. All right, let's get into the how-to. Enough theory. How do we actually build this thing? Well, lucky for us, the source material lays out a 7-step playbook for designing a structure that really, truly works. Yep, there are 7 key steps, so let's break them down one by one. Step 1. And listen, this is the most critical one, so don't skip it. Forget about job titles, forget about the org chart for just a minute. You have to start with the why. What is the fundamental purpose of this team? Why does it exist? You can figure this out by asking 2 simple questions. What are we actually here to accomplish? And what specific value do we create for the larger organization? Having a clear purpose statement, just like this marketing team example, becomes your North Star. Every other decision you make will flow from it. Okay, once that team purpose is rock solid, you can move on to step 2. And this is where you tackle that who does what confusion head on by defining crystal clear roles for everyone. And I'm talking about way more than just a job title. For every single role, you need to write down these 3 things. What are their core responsibilities? What do they own? What is their specific decision-making authority? What can they say yes or no to without asking? And what are the exact metrics that define success for them? That level of clarity is what gives people confidence. Step 3 is all about designing for speed. So instead of creating these long vertical chains of command where everything has to go up and down, group people together based on the function they serve. Think of them as cross-functional squads or specialized teams that can move fast and get things done. All right, on to step 4. Now, I know what you might be thinking, especially if you're in a smaller, flatter company. An org chart? Really? Yes, really. You need to actually visualize the structure. So I bother because the moment you put it on paper or on a screen, everything becomes obvious. You can suddenly see where the communication breakdowns are happening. You can spot the gaps, the overlaps, and the hidden bottlenecks in your system. And just remember, this isn't a one-and-done thing. You gotta treat it like a living document. Plan on updating it at least quarterly. Step 5 gets into the nitty-gritty of how work actually gets done. See, it's not just about who reports to whom. That's the vertical part. It's about how teams hand off work to each other. It's about mapping out the horizontal flow. This is what our source calls the horizontal handshake. So when the design team finishes a feature, what is the exact process for handing it off to engineering? And then, how does it get from engineering to marketing? Defining these handshakes is how you eliminate friction and painful delays. Okay, step 6. This is all about closing the loop. A great structure isn't just a map, it's also a scoreboard. You've got to make ownership and results totally transparent to everyone on the team. And the tools for this can be super simple. We're talking about things like public scoreboards with the team's KPIs, clear task trackers, shared performance dashboards. The key here is that this is not about micromanagement, not at all. It's about creating a culture where people can manage themselves because the goals are visible to everyone. And finally, we've arrived at step 7. Your team structure is not a project you finish. It's a living system that has to evolve. I promise you, what works for a team of 5 people is going to completely break by the time you hit 15. That's why you need to set a regular rhythm, maybe every quarter, maybe every 6 months, to review what's working and what's not. Remember, growing your team isn't just about hiring more people. It's about evolving the system that supports them. So let's pull all of this together. Designing and maintaining your team's structure, well, that's not just some side task for HR. It is a fundamental core responsibility of leadership. It's your job. And this final thought really is the key takeaway of this whole thing. If your team seems confused or lacks clarity, don't blame them. The first place you should look is at the structure, the system that they have to work inside of every day. Because when you get this right, when you are truly intentional about designing how your team works together, the payoff is just huge. You absolutely kill confusion, you dramatically increase the speed of execution, and most importantly, you finally unlock the full potential of all the talented people you worked so hard to hire. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to really think about. Take a hard, honest look at your team. Is the structure you've put in place genuinely enabling them to do their best work? Or is it silently, maybe even accidentally disabling them? The answer to that question is the key to their performance and to yours.